If you're making cold calls every single day and sellers keep hanging up on you, you probably think it's your script. You're probably memorizing better rebuttals, testing new openers, looking for that perfect line that's finally going to work. But here's the truth. I've spent over 9 years doing the same exact thing. Perfect scripts, still losing deals, sellers still hanging up, or worse, staying on the phone and still saying no, until I discovered the 93% rule. And the moment I applied it, everything changed. I started closing deals with scripts that weren't even that good, because I'm about to show you why that will completely change the way you think about cold calling forever. Here's what I thought was the problem. I thought I needed a better script, so I kept changing them. I thought I needed better objection handlers, so I memorized more rebuttals. I thought I needed more confidence, so I just made more calls. None of it really worked the way I thought it would, because the truth is, your script may not be the problem. Maybe it never was. There's something else happening on these calls that matters way more than the words coming out of your mouth. Once you understand this, you'll never cold call the same way again. So let me introduce you to the 93% rule. 93% of your success on the call has nothing to do with what you say, but rather it's how you say it. 7% is the actual words you use, your script. Most wholesalers obsess over the 7%. They memorize the scripts, they practice objection handling, they stress out about every single word. But here's the reality. A seller doesn't hang up only because you said the wrong thing. They hang up because they can feel you're nervous, desperate, or unsure. Your tone tells them whether you've done this before. Your energy tells them whether they can even trust you. Your physiology, how you're sitting, breathing, and moving, comes through on the phone. That is backed by psychology, right? NLP shows us that communication, 55% is body language, 38% is tonality, and only 7% is the actual words. On the phone, people think that you lose the 55%, which is the body language. But that's 100% wrong. The way you stand and carry yourself affects your energy and what you say. Here's how this applies to real estate wholesaling. You could have the best script in the world, but if you're sitting hunched over, tired, rushing through your intro because you're scared they're going to hang up, or you're just burned out from getting no answers, then when you finally get someone on the phone, you'll screw it up. On the flip side, I've watched students close deals with mediocre scripts because their energy was locked in. They sounded confident. They sounded like they've done this 1,000 times. The seller believed them. If this is starting to make sense, hit that like and subscribe button, because I'm going to show you exactly how to apply this to your cold calls. Now, let me tell you a quick little story. I was coaching one of my students, let's call him Tin. I reviewed his cold calls, and here's what I noticed. He was saying all the right things. His script was solid, but he was talking way too fast. Why? Because the sellers were hanging up on him, and he thought if he got the words out faster, they wouldn't hang up. But here's what actually happened. He sounded frantic. He sounded desperate. You understand? He spoke so quickly that sellers didn't even understand what he was saying. And that made sellers more confused, not less. I told them to just slow down, take a breath, speak like you've been here before, like you've done this 1,000 times, even if you haven't. He made that small little adjustment, same script, different energy. Guess what happened? Sellers stopped hanging up. They started engaging. They started trusting him. That's that 93% rule in action. All right. If you're grinding, making calls every day and wonder why it's not working, this might be why. It's not your script, it's your state. So how do you actually master the 93% rule? Step 1, you want to control your state before you dial. Before you pick up the phone, check in with yourself. Are you anxious, tired, desperate? If yes, the seller will feel it. So do this. Stand up. Take 3 deep breaths. exhales, right? 3 of them. And tell me you don't feel different. And smile. Yes. Even on the phone, they can hear you smile. Your tone, the way you carry yourself, the way you speak comes off very differently when you smile. Get your energy right before you dial. Step 2, you want to slow down your intro. Most people rush because they're scared the seller will hang up. But rushing makes you sound like a telemarketer, or even worse, they just won't understand what it is that you're saying if you're just rushing through that intro. Remember, when you call somebody, as soon as they say hello, they're probably doing something else at the same time, right? So if you're calling them and just like, hi, brah, right? They're probably like, wait, what? Who? What are you saying? Who are you? What do you want? You don't want that level of confusion with somebody on the phone. Instead, speak slowly. Pause between sentences. Let them process what you're saying and sound certain when you're saying it. Step number 3, focus on tonality, not perfection. I didn't know tonality was even a thing until I met this guy, Jeremy Miner. Great person to follow. This is a great book, A New Model for Selling. But he talks a lot about tonality, how you say it, right? So you got to stop obsessing over saying the perfect thing, but rather focus on how you're saying it. Ask yourself, do I sound confident? Do I sound like I'm here to help? Or do I sound like I'm begging for a deal? Your tone is your credibility. Let that sink in a little bit. Your tone is your credibility. Now, how many deals have you done? The tone, how you speak, how you say, the certainty in your voice is your credibility. Here's a homework here. Record your next 5 calls. Listen back to them. Ignore the words. Just listen to your tone and energy. What do you hear? Would you trust the person on that call? Fix your state, fix your tone, and watch what happens. And drop a comment below and tell me what's the biggest shift you need to make in your cold calling energy. So let's build this out together. Here's going to be like the deeper truth most people miss. You're not struggling because you don't know what to say. You're struggling because you don't believe you belong in the conversation. That doubt comes through in your voice. That fear comes through in your tone. But here's what I want you to understand. Every single person who's great at this, including me, started exactly where you are. Nervous, unsure, stumbling over the words. The difference? They didn't wait for the success to feel confident. They decided to sound confident anyway. And the more they did it, the more real it became. You're closer than you think. You don't need a better script. You need to show up differently. Master the 93%, and the 7% will take care of itself. So here's your challenge. For the next 7 days, before every cold call, take 30 seconds to check your state. Stand up. Do the 3 deep breaths I told you. Get your energy right. Then dial. I promise you, your results will change. And if you want to know exactly what type of wholesaler you are and what's blocking you from closing the $30,000 deals or more every single month, take a free quiz I just created. Go to pwmquiz.com and I'll show you your biggest gap and how to fix it. If this helped, make sure you're subscribing. I drop videos like this every single week. But keep in mind, the 93% rule is physiology, tonality. Only 7% are the words. And when I say stand up and take a deep breath, I'm not saying stand up, to take the deep breaths and then start making your calls. No, I'm saying like you stand up throughout your calls. This is crucial, guys. You guys have to wrap your head around this. You're standing up throughout all of your calls. The whole time you're standing. Because this manages your state. This is why I give all my lessons, every lecture I do, every teaching, everything, every training I do is standing up. Because my brain works quicker when I do this. You understand? And because my brain works quicker, I can react differently. I can speak in a different tone rather than if I'm sitting down and my energy is being depleted. All right? So implement these techniques on all of your calls. And shoot, for the next 7 days, implement these techniques and then tell me how different those calls are.